Guys, this is the new TMW pre-runner bumper for the Pro R and Turbo R. One of the things you'll notice is a tube construction bumper, so it's all tubing, so it's very strong. Across the top here we have our light rail system that we use for mounting all kinds of lights. We use that on Razor bumpers, we use it on Can-Am bumpers, so it's kind of that same theme that we have going across all those bumpers. It's got a great skid plate across the front. It's kind of got a unique style skid plate. You can see these kind of weird looking ears, and when you see us install it, and you'll see how that fits into the Pro R and Turbo R front end, and you'll understand what those are for. Real quick, when we talk about the hardware for this, you'll open the hardware kit and you'll see it says Can-Am pre-runner bumper. The hardware is the same for this bumper and the Can-Am bumper, so sorry that we put the word Can-Am in the hardware kit, but in that kit you're going to get 2 bumper ends, 7 bolts, and 7 washers. Really all you're doing is bolting the skid plate on after you install it on the car and putting your 2 bumper ends in. The main bolts that attach this to the chassis are the factory hardware bolts that come on the Pro R and Turbo R, and we'll show you how we do all that. I'm going to show you how to take off this, not sure if it's a Polaris bumper that was on the front of this Pro R. We're going to remove this and install the TMW pre-runner bumper. So no matter which bumper you have, whether it's the Polaris factory bumper or any of these aftermarket bumpers, they're held on by 4 main bolts. They're 10mm bolts. And so whatever's on the front of your Pro R, when you start, you have to get back into those 4 main bolts, remove those bolts so that you can clear the way for the TMW bumper to be installed. Some of the factory one has a little piece of plastic where this bumper is, and it does have 4 little Torx, I think they're T40 little Torx bolts that you need to remove. So you might have those in the way where you need to take that little plastic piece out of the way before you get access to these 4 main bolts. I'm going to take and we're just going to trim this little piece off right here. Just basically draw a straight line straight down through here. We're going to use an air saw to trim it off. Some people use a die grinder. We do get questions like, why do we need to trim the plastic with a TMW bumper? Well, we wanted to make the bumper look a certain way, and the plastic didn't allow us to get the look and style we wanted to, so we decided that a little bit of trimming to have the bumper look perfect is better than having a dumb looking bumper and some plastic that's not trimmed. These are the factory 8.8 bolts we're using to reinstall this bumper. We recommend you use 50 to 55 foot-pounds of torque if you have a torque wrench. chose to install our lights on the bench on this car to mount them to the bumper while I was on the bench. Sometimes it's a little easier to get them perfectly centered, lay it out while you just have stuff sitting on the bench. But it does make the bumper heavier when you go to install the bumper. So on this bumper you can install the lights on the bumper, but once you put the skid plate on, it's hard to get to those bolts. So whether you install the lights on the bumper while it's on the bench or while it's on the car, make sure you do it before you put the skid plate on, because you will have to remove the skid plate to install the lights. So we use just some cleaner like spray wax or some symbol to kind of lube up the bumper end. It does have an O-ring on there. Just makes it a little easier if you have something to have it wet. Use a rubber hammer so you don't damage the anodizing.